crazy video was about two guys who decided that there was not the perfect Christmas carol. And so what they did is they interviewed kids, and they put together this insane Christmas carol called Christmas in Belgian. And it was perfect to them, with its imperfect aspects, with its crazy answers to the questions. And tonight, ladies, we want to challenge you in this room to redefine what made perfectly means. And we're going to do that together all evening. So we are really excited, and I have the privilege of introducing the perfect person to pray over our evening today. I'd like to introduce you to our senior pastor, Pastor Jim Andrews.
Thank you, Julie. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, as we were taught by the Apostle Paul, whether we eat or drink or whatever we do all to the glory of God. And it is in that spirit, our Father, that we offer up this event tonight to honor you and to be blessed by you in the whole process. We want to thank you, our Father, at this season of the year for the advent of our Lord Jesus Christ, whom you sent into the world to be our Redeemer, for surely we need it. We thank you for the pardon of our sins. We thank you for the fullness of life that we enjoy in him, and the prospect of the eternal kingdom of God coming in the end. Praise your name. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jim. Well, ladies, that is how we like to get our party started here at Lake Bible Church. And so are you ready to get this party started with our fabulous cooking show? If you were here last year, we are in for a huge treat because we have a brand new celebrity chef named Jessica Hansen, and she is again joined by our very own Lori Sheffield. So can you please put your hands together and welcome Lori Sheffield and Jessica Hansen.
Hello.
First things first, I'm taking my phone out of my bra. Let's get this party started.
I'm fine.
Should I pat you down?
No phones
Sometimes
here.
I do that when we're cooking. So, okay. Okay, where are we starting tonight, Jessica? I am so excited to be doing this year with Jessica. Jessica and I became friends when I brought Jessica over to my house to teach me how to cook at my home. And Jessica has been around the block. I shouldn't probably say that, huh?
It's a different introduction than I'm used to, but I totally appreciate it.
She has been around the block with regards to cooking. I don't know about the other stuff. We haven't talked about the other stuff. Maybe we could have some fun with that tonight, too. But let's go ahead and start with cooking. Jessica has a cooking school out on her farm that she has had for 3 years. You said you lived in the farm for 3 years, is that right?
That's correct.
And she truly runs a cooking school that is farm to table. And I've had the pleasure of going to some of her cooking classes out there, and it is a blast. And she is a gifted, wonderful cook. She's been a caterer and a chef. She's been a chef for 13 years.
13 years.
And she's a caterer before that.
Since I was like 10.
Perfect. Me too.
Yeah.
I've been married for 32 years, and I say I got married when I was 12. So you were cooking for me
Right.
at my wedding.
Right.
Perfect. It all goes together.
It's like Doogie Howser, slightly different.
This is getting kind of weird.
Should I go ahead and start cooking?
Yes. So, Jessica, what are we going to start with? Let's just start, and let's just have some fun and see how this goes.
Well, I'm thrilled that you are going to be helping me to cater a appetizer party for about somewhere between 250, 300 people, right. And we're going to do our very best to make it as perfectly as possible. That's going to mean a lot of different things depending on how Lori and I do this evening. So we're going to get started, and throughout the evening, you're going to be able to enjoy the appetizers we're creating. We've got a great team in the kitchen putting it together. So for our appetizer party, we're going to start with a Belgian endive with a blue cheese and pecan mousse. Looks very elegant on the platter, but it just has a little bit of work that goes into it first. Do you mind if I go ahead and get started?
I would love you to get started. Okay, you say it endive. Is this one of those things that we can say it several ways? Endive, endive?
Endive. endive.
It's that white,
endive.
pathetic-looking stuff that I always pass up in the market because I thought this was no good and this is the stuff they were ready to throw away. That is not true, I see.
No, this is one of the most, I think, one of God's perfect creations. It's a beautiful, beautiful, crunchy, and somewhat bitter vegetable. And it just comes apart really easily. In fact, I'll just show you how to get that ready. It comes in 2 different colors, if you will, in the red tipped, which I think is beautiful for the holidays, as well as just the standard green. Both are called Belgian endive. There's also a different endive that comes in more of a head. So we're just gonna take the ends off of it so that these can come apart as a nice little leaf. So if you think about these, this is really a vehicle for just about any kind of topping. You could put, in fact, I sometimes will do like a chopped Caesar salad. So take some really well-seasoned Caesar dressing with some croutons and a little bit of garlic, and you can make a pile of that. Maybe a shrimp salad, crab salad. There's all sorts of things you can do with endive. But tonight, we are going to make it a little bit more savory by adding...
so is this a bitter, or what is this one like? What does it taste like? I knew you were
do
going to
this every time.
Why
If
did
you
I
have a
think
question and
this?
you want to know what it tastes like, just one little bite.
Okay, those of you that know and remember me, I'm not the taster, right? Okay, so where's my bowl if I don't like this? Where do I, the whole...
Well,
Just saying. Do I have it? Okay, awesome.
here you'll see down here,
Okay.
we have a...
Okay.
We have a goat bucket.
Okay.
We call it the goat bucket. It'll be fed to our goats
Okay.
later. If it's not good enough for you, it might be all right
No,
for
it's
the
not that
dairy
it's not
animals.
good enough. Did you grow this on your farm, or were the goats in the same field? I just have to know ahead of time.
You're clear. This
Okay.
is clear.
Okay.
So how this grows actually is why it's so light. So it's got a little bit of bitterness to it, right? Just a
It
touch.
does, but this is not bad. Okay,
No.
I don't mind this. Okay.
That's how I love the descriptions of my food to go. It's really not bad. It's not
It's not bad. I don't mind this. Okay.
So the reason that this is white is because it's a winter lettuce, if you will, or a winter herb. It's going to grow out of the ground, and just as it starts to come out of the ground and start to get some color on the top, that's when it's good and ready to harvest. So they actually dig it out. That's why it has no color. If it continues to grow out of the ground, then you will see more and more color on it, and then it can become even more bitter. So they want to capture it and harvest it right when it starts to come out of the ground. That's why it's so pale.
Okay.
So we're going to get that, platter of varying colors, and we're going to go ahead and make our mousse.
Okay.
So we're going to start over here with just a basic food processor, and we toasted some pecans, whole pecans. I'm going to go ahead and throw
Okay,
those
and ladies, this is coming out to your table, so you're going to get to taste this too.
And
but you don't have a spit out bucket by your table. So if you don't like it, swallow it.
I'm going to make a lot of noise for a second while I pulse these. Once we get those chopped pecans up, we're going to take some good blue cheese. Now this is the bulk of our appetizer is really the flavor in this blue cheese. So this is the time to actually choose a tasty blue cheese. Maybe not necessarily just the crumbled gorgonzola at Costco. Trust me, there are places for that. This is the type that in fact, this one is a Rogue River Creamery. It's out of the Rogue Valley in southern Oregon. I'm going to crumble this in here.
Okay, so there's a difference in gorgonzola from Costco and Rogue River blue cheese that you get at the grocery store.
Yeah, at the grocery store.
Okay.
So Rogue River is just it's made in Oregon, and you know how
Okay.
I'm committed to
Yes.
finding local sources for my food. And it's got just a little bit saltier and nuttier flavor than what the gorgonzola you find at the store.
Okay.
Then we're going to take cream cheese.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Do we care about where this came from? Could this come from Philadelphia?
Yes.
And a silver package?
yes.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, this could totally be Philadelphia. This could be even the larger container from Costco, because this isn't going to carry a lot of flavor.
Okay.
And then we're going to puree that.
Okay.
While we do that, you're in charge of holding that down.
I see that.
So we'll get the rest of our endive platter together.
Okay.
You're doing a great job. We'll just have you pulse it every once in a while.
Okay.
If it gets stuck at all on the sides, that's why we have spatulas. We'll just move that around.
I can do this. You can do
Really?
it. You do it. Yeah, I can do this.
I didn't teach you this when I came over.
Nope, and I don't have a food processor that looks like this, but I have a blender.
Do you have is yours just brand new?
I've never taken out the box.
That's kind of what I was thinking. So we'll just go ahead and pulse it together every once in a while, and that'll help things move. And believe it or not, this is going to end up getting creamy. There, it starts to move on the bottom as it breaks into that cream cheese. The cream cheese is the creamier portion of it, obviously, and so it needs to blend that with the blue cheese. The only reason I'm not allowing you to stick that in there is I'm afraid it's going to jump off the table at you.
Oh, okay.
There you go. You can press that down again.
Okay.
And in the meantime, after I put this platter together, and I'm just choosing to alternate the red with the green or yellower colors just because it's pretty. We'll get that together. I'm going to do a couple other things, and you're doing a great job on that. Gonna take some cranberries, so we're gonna garnish it as you've seen on your platter with some cranberries. You've got options. I choose to garnish these with, or soak these in some port. I do that in the microwave instead of doing it overnight. I just put it in the microwave with some plastic wrap and kind of call it good. Microwave it for about a minute.
Okay, so Jessica, you're soaking those in port. What if we didn't want to use alcohol in our house? What else could we soak those in?
Really great question. I use orange juice, so I would just literally cut an orange in half or use the orange juice out of your fridge. This is not going to make a difference.
Okay.
And I would microwave it just the same. By microwaving it, what you're allowing to do is you're letting the cranberries that were dried purposely take on that moisture so they don't end up being a chewy portion of what you're eating.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and take that.
Okay.
Fold it into some freshly whipped cream. Now this at this point actually is very tasty. You wouldn't have to do anything to it at all, but we're going to. We're going to go ahead and fold this in just to lighten it up a little bit. Now, when I made this before for you, you might remember when you came to the kitchen and we were talking about this, I forgot, because I was so excited by what I was doing, that I forgot to add the whipped cream. Everybody thought it was absolutely delicious, even though it was completely a messed up recipe, because I forgot, big part of the ingredients. And that would be a perfect example of how it was made perfectly.
I love that.
Based on how you thought it was, because everybody absolutely adored it.
I love that.
I was in the back going, oh no, what have I done? I totally missed an entire ingredient. But it tasted beautiful, and it didn't really matter.
Yes, it did taste beautiful.
So
how can you go wrong with blue cheese? But now you add whipped cream to it, that just seems like it's just getting better and better.
Now, when we say whipped cream, this is bland, absolutely bland. It is only heavy whipping cream that has been whipped until it's soft peaks. So not whipped cream necessarily like in a can.
Okay, so you're kind of mashing it in there rather than folding it in there, right?
I'm doing my best to fold in a bowl that is not necessarily made perfectly.
Okay. Okay.
So good question.
Okay.
And your goal is to not lose a ton of the loft, but we're just gonna get that kind of put together.
Okay, Jessica, you have two little twin girls that are 2 years old. Would this be something they would eat, or would this be just something that your husband of 5 years would eat?
No, they would eat this. The
they
girls
would eat this.
just because they eat everything. They don't have any real options.
Okay.
They just get whatever is put in front of them. Okay. And we have a pretty expansive palate, so they eat salmon, they eat fish.
Is someone clapping because she doesn't give her children options? Is that okay? That you guys are so great.
I thought it was because you actually liked the endive. You didn't feel like you needed a bucket, but no. My girls eat just about anything, thank goodness.
That is good parenting. I don't do that. I let my kids be picky eaters, and it has caused me torture over the years.
Well, I've been told that this is just a phase and that it's going to end, and that makes me slightly bitter every
once in a while. Well, my children are in their 20s, and no, it doesn't end.
Oh.
It's, no.
Oh, well.
2 of them are here tonight. I asked them when they pass by.
So we can just take spoonfuls of this and put it on there, or we can go through the trouble of having a piping bag. Are you familiar with what this is? Does anybody have one of these from maybe a cake decorating class you took at some point?
Okay, that was fun.
Okay, well, I'm going to choose to use this, and I'm going to put a little fluted tip in it. It's just got some cute little edges. You just slide it in.
All right.
Now, aren't you going to ask me, well, what if I didn't have a piping bag?
I'm still shocked by the whole piping bag thing.
Okay, so you just push that in. Now, I have a fantastic assistant, but if you weren't here or you weren't fantastic, I'd be able to just drop it in like that to hold it.
There is no way that would work. I'm going to go ahead and hold this because I don't want this to collapse on the stage. So go ahead. I'm ready. I'm ready. Ready to go. This is going to be a disaster, right? No, don't get it on me.
Okay, so we're going to put that in.
This would absolutely be a game at my house with my son. I would be over here and he'd be flinging it. I just know how this would go.
Okay, so we're just going to put as much as we're comfortable with in the bag.
My son and son-in-law are out here as servers tonight. I can absolutely imagine that they would hold this and throw this. Don't worry, they won't do that with your food, I don't think. I think I've warned them enough.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Now, based on that incredible skill, you did this just right. But in case she wasn't as good, I went ahead and put it in a bag already, but you did great. We had backup, though, just in case.
I want to try this. I want to try this.
Well, hey, we'll both have one.
Okay, ready?
You get the fresh one.
Okay, wait. Am I being set up? Because this is going to, do something weird. Okay.
Let's go ahead and let everybody see exactly what you're doing, as though it's close up.
You go first.
Okay, so we're just going to pipe a little bit at the end. Now, you could do this like ants on a log, so, the peanut butter all the way, but that's not going to look attractive. So we're just going to go for a little bit of flavor right here at the end. Does that make sense?
Ants on a log is not what I was thinking of. I'm just saying.
So just a little touch of it at the corner. That way you have a place to actually have your guests grab the piece with their hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's fun. How do you stop?
Just pull. Whoa.
What's going?
That's a good portion.
Okay.
You did a
This looks like a good portion.
So at our cooking school, which is on our farm, we've got 17 acres in Wilsonville where we have a herd of dairy goats, and we make a lot of cheese. Right.
No, yours is
I was going to point out that we teach all skill levels.
Okay, wait, hold on. I smushed it down. Hold on. Could I fix this? Okay, I have an idea.
Your home is beautiful. You have good hair, and this is what you. All right. She's got all sorts of pretty things going on. We have more.
No, I have an idea.
Okay.
Ready? Oopsies.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go.
And you got 2 done.
Here we go. Oops. There we go. All right. Almost.
And just pull there.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think you do a great job at
stupid.
No, I think you did a fantastic job. So I'm going to finish
Okay.
that last one. And as you got to enjoy, these are the already soaked cranberries. And again, just microwave them for like a minute. We're just going to put a couple of them on.
Okay, these are the ones that are soaked in port?
They are.
So if theirs looks like this, don't use the orange juice soaked cranberries. Use the port soaked cranberries.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
They won't know the difference. I think tonight for the recipe for everybody, we used orange juice.
I think that's a
just
good
so
idea.
that we made sure everybody's needs were met.
Yeah, I love that.
So, a couple of the port soaked
What is port? I don't even know
cranberries.
what port is.
Port is just a fortified red wine made in Portugal.
Okay.
So they actually take regular wine in the process and add a little bit of alcohol to it.
Okay.
And then continue to let it ferment.
Okay, so the alcohol has not been cooked out of this. So if you do have an issue with alcohol, you really would use orange juice or
Yes.
something else. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. There are times, in fact, when we make our next appetizer, that wouldn't be a deal because it'll cook off. But
Okay.
So this is just a nice punch of color.
All right. Oh, I
and you
love
have
that.
a
That looks
nice,
beautiful.
Nice platter.
Do you have some on your table yet, ladies?
Oh yes.
Do they love it? Do you love it?
They got to eat.
Yay. Yay. I love that too.
So as I mentioned, we're just going to throw all of these extra pieces into our little goat bucket down here. They were kind enough
Okay,
to let
Jessica,
me bring.
do you make cheese on the farm?
Absolutely. Yep, that's why we have goats. When I started buying a bunch of milk from area farms to make cheese, because I wanted to become proficient at it, and that in addition to my addiction to Whole Foods, my husband said, we need to figure this out financially. You should probably have your own goats or grow your own stuff, because not everybody can spend all of their money on food like we were doing. So we bought, so the cheaper route was to buy 17 acres in Wilsonville.
Oh,
right.
okay.
He hasn't totally thought that through yet, but
Honey,
now
we need to buy a clothing store. If you're out here, honey, I'm thinking that's a good idea. She buys goats. I think clothing stores would be a good idea. Okay.
So the next appetizer, so we liked that. Did we get through the little bitterness of that, but the sweet? Good.
Okay.
All right. Our next.
Okay, back to the cheese. I know you're making another cheese thing,
yeah.
but do you milk the goat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When they are in milk, which is not year-round. So currently, we are without milk, which is a really nice time at the farm. A lot less work. I'm not up twice a day taking care of animals.
Oh, okay.
Just
your twins.
Yes.
Okay.
And we skipped a season. We thought only one animal needs to be in milk at a time, and I had 2-year-old twins, so we just skipped that for a while.
That's 2 animals.
All right.
Okay. What can I do?
Okay. Our next appetizer is going to be harvest brie. This is probably one of my favorite things to make and favorite things to serve because absolutely everybody likes it, and it's something that most of the ingredients would be potentially in your pantry and or freezer. Why I say freezer is because that's a great place to keep brie. She mentioned that I make a lot of cheese, and I do make brie and make camembert, and it can be a very nice, ripe, soft cheese in the center, or it can be firm, like this, which is a very unripe brie. Why I say that is because this is brie from Costco. This is the time. Run to Costco and get the $6 brie because when you put it in there in the pan, it's going to get warm, and it doesn't matter if it's expensive brie. So don't waste your money on that. Where I say waste your money. That's on the other, the fancier cheese. This is
I have
not
never heard
necessarily
waste your money
important.
before. My husband has never said that to me.
I can't imagine.
Okay,
So I'm melting a little bit of butter, and I'm going to grab a couple of hard fruits, maybe a green pear, and this is just really about color at this point. We're choosing a red apple. So any hard fruit that you have in your kitchen, fall fruit, I call this the harvest brie because this is the perfect time to do it. And this is a Bartlett pear. I'm going to just cut around the core. So if you haven't cut a pear like this, here's a good lesson for you. We're going to pretend, because it's in there, that the core is in the center. We're going to cut a square box around that. So I'm just going to cut that side off. And you'll notice the sound of chopping. It's on the firmer side, which is totally fine. Any level of ripeness is fine. Then we're going to end up with that core that we're not going to use. And the nice thing about this is all of our pieces are now flat, so it becomes safer to cut. I'm going to cut that into halves, maybe into strips.
Okay, your husband Jason of 5 years, does he like this? Would he eat this?
Yes.
He's a good eater? He eats anything?
Yes.
My husband is too.
Yeah.
When we got married, I made him eggs and bacon for the first time, and all I could think of is that I cook that egg until that yellow runny thing in the middle was hard, and that bacon was crisp, and it was gagging him, and he didn't say a word. He's a good man.
Oh, how many years ago was that, did you say?
32 years.
Yeah,
Remember, I got married when I was 12.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't think you'd made it to 40. So now that we got that pear cut up, I'm going to go ahead and turn our heat back up a little bit. Get that
now
pear
do you grow
sizzling.
fruit trees on your farm?
We do. We have apples and pears and a fig. And we had 2 peaches, but those peach trees were in the goat field.
Oh, and goats eat everything.
Goats eat everything.
Okay.
So, well, except for my goats, cheap hay, and they're really kind of picky now.
Oh.
They're fancy ones.
Okay.
They're like pets to me.
Do you name them?
Yes, they're named mostly after cheeses.
Oh.
So, Brie, Colby.
Okay, so do you ever eat like goat or chicken, and then do you have to like eat? Hey, honey, guess what we're having for dinner? This is Susan. I mean, that would be kind of sad.
Well, I think the beauty of having dairy animals is that they typically don't get killed. You want them to live. They have a purpose there. Well, we could talk about the chickens, but that's not important right now. But we,
honey, go get Ruth. We're gonna eat her for dinner. I mean, that just seems kind of wrong. I don't know.
And I actually think it's so right because it's good to know where your food comes from, even if it's your yard.
Okay. Safeway is where my food comes from. I'm okay with that.
So we do have very little use for male goats because they're not dairy animals. And so we usually sell those and not eat them because I'm a huge softie.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, my first 2 male goats are still on the farm, and they're they're pets.
Wow.
And they're adorable. They don't have cheese names. That's yeah, Benji and Chewy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Benji and Chewy. Did Chewy chew something up he wasn't supposed to? Choose everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Benji's just adorable.
Okay.
When you, if you choose, I don't see you as being the one that wants to see the goats, but a lot of people go out and see the goats when they're on the property. So we've got this.
I would see them from afar. I would be willing to look from afar.
Okay. So we've got all of that cut up fruit in there. We're going to take some sliced almonds. It could be any nut you'd like.
All right.
I'm busy paying attention to you. Do we have brie on its way? Are you enjoying that?
I see that. I
see
can't
some.
tell.
Okay. You guys are beautiful, however dark. We're going to go ahead and just allow the nuts to toast a little bit, and we're sautéing the apples and the pears. And then we are going to throw in some dried fruit. I'm going to choose cranberries and golden raisins. Golden raisins because I love golden raisins. I just think that they plump up really nice. And the cranberries are great for color, especially during the holiday season. It's going to just look beautiful on the platter.
Love it.
And then a little bit of brown sugar.
Oh, okay.
And none of these, as you can see, none of these are measured out.
You did not measure a thing. You just
I'm
threw in.
Throwing in some.
All right.
I'm going to jiggle it around in the pan.
Okay, that is an awesome looking skill. You look cool when you do that. What would happen if I tried that?
I would like to find out.
Okay. I'm good.
No? Oh.
No. Let's just pretend that I did it.
As part of culinary.
Hey, could we cut the video and just cut me in? I like that idea.
And we're going to throw in a little bit of wine. Now, just to answer the previous question that we had, if you didn't want to use wine in your house or didn't have it, this, by the way, cooks out. So we're going to be cooking out the alcohol. There wouldn't be any left in it.
All right.
However, if you didn't want to, I would recommend apple juice.
All right.
So we would just pour in a little bit of apple juice.
All right.
It would be important to counteract that apple juice with a little bit more lemon, though, because we're looking for acidity in this. In the recipe, you'll see a little bit of lemon added. Just go ahead and cut that.
Okay, lady, how is that brie tasting, ladies? Do you love that one?
Isn't that yummy?
All right.
Now, can you see how you'd have nuts and dried fruit? And everybody has an apple laying around. Maybe you just did 2 apples. If you had a wheel of brie in your freezer, if somebody decided that they wanted to come over, you would be able to make them an appetizer much like this.
Okay, you could freeze brie.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Especially the more firmer bries like this, the more inexpensive, it wouldn't make a
I love
difference.
this. You could be prepared for company at a moment's notice. If your mother-in-law just pops in, you could impress her.
So I'm just going to take this whole wheel of brie. And the side that would normally go up, the pretty side, or what I would call a presentation side, we're going to put that face down. And then literally, our work here is done. We're going to pretend to put this into an oven. So at this point, you could just stop and set this aside and be done with it until your friends come over. So if this is something you could do completely in advance. Or you could choose to take that brie wheel, put it in a really nice pie plate, if you will, pour the caramel over it, and then set it in the fridge and take it over to said friend's house because you were going to a potluck and put it in the oven. So it's got a lot of different variations on when you can get that done. But today, we will just go ahead and pretend that we're putting it in the oven. Walk back to the oven with me.
Okay.
Pretty exciting.
Love that.
Yeah. Put that in the
oven. My
oven.
oven has a rooster in it too. Did that one come from your garden?
And this, I will say this got a little browner in the oven than we thought, but bottom line is it comes out of the oven really pretty. Just like that. A little bit dehydrated, meaning it's cooked down, that wine has cooked off, and so you get a nice rich caramel with all of the fruit. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this and grab a platter. So, to go with our lovely endive that could be done early, we will go ahead and take this. When you put it in an oven-safe pan, remember to use some sort of a hot pad. I'm going to flip this over.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And then just pour that rich, warm caramel.
Oh, I love that.
Right over the top. And it just makes an absolutely lovely presentation.
I love the way that looks.
Now, again, just to give you a couple of extra ideas, when people have come over and they've eaten most of it, but you've got a small corner left, it microwaves just beautifully with the leftover crackers at, say, like 11 o'clock at night. So don't hesitate from enjoying that a little bit later. So how'd we do so far?
I love that. Okay, and you can find these recipes online. If you want any of these recipes this evening after we're finished with this, you can go to the joyofit.org and find all of these recipes online. We have them there waiting for you because we know that you're going to want to make these afterwards. And like Jessica said multiple times, she wasn't measuring anything. A lot of these things, she was doing a handful of this and a handful of that. But if you're a recipe follower, you could see them online, and Jessica did write out measurements, so if you were a recipe follower, you could get them that way.
Okay, I'm excited
Jessica,
for the next one.
what are we making next?
How about a little bit of pizza?
Oh,
can be a
fun.
great appetizer and done ahead.
That.
So we are just going to take a little bit of pizza dough.
Okay, now Jessica, I know where this pizza dough came from. You bought pre-made pizza dough. You gave away your secret to me earlier because you said that that's just as easy as making it from scratch sometimes.
It's actually a little bit easier every once in a while. I live in Wilsonville. Right down the street is Pizza Smizza.
Oh.
They do a beautiful job of, they sell pizza dough for like $2 or something ridiculously cheap. So that's one of those things that if you don't want to take the time to make your pizza dough, it takes just a few ingredients and about an hour to rise. But there's no reason not to use some fresh pre-made pizza dough. So a lot of pizzerias will actually sell that.
And I also saw it at New Seasons the other day, or Whole Foods. And if you ask the bakery section, they'll give you that too. They'll just give you dough, or they'll sell it to you. They won't just give it to you. But I bet if you're really nice, maybe they would give it to you. I don't know.
I bet that they would give you some.
Okay, so
I'm just shaping it into a little bit of a flat ball, and I'm probably going to use a
Okay, so the catering tonight has been done by Savory Platter, our very own Mary Johnson, and her crew is back in the kitchen cooking hard for you guys, duplicating these recipes, and she's done a wonderful job.
Absolutely.
And she has been cooking and cooking, and I was back there today picking her brain, and she said that she had a little bit of a hard time with the dough keeping it flat. So I see that you're rolling it out. When I was talking to Mary, she said it kept puffing up on her. So good, bad, and different.
We talked a little bit about that too.
Okay.
Imagine you can make this as a big pizza, but just the same, when you're trying to do it little, you want to roll it out pretty thin.
All right.
And then in addition to that, I would grab a fork and dock it all over the place.
And do what it?
Dock it. You're docking it by making little holes all over it, and that gives it space to have air escape. So
right.
we're just going to dock it all over the place.
All right.
Now, if you wanted to make a ton, 200 and some in advance, you can also pre-bake the crust just like this, and then you can put the cheese and the rest of the stuff on top, and just finish it in the oven for a few minutes. So these are do-aheadable.
All right, do-aheadable. I love that word.
Totally made up.
Yeah, when I talked to Mary today, they were working so hard. They've been working for days making all of this stuff for you, making it all fresh. I mean, she was just doing ahead what she could do ahead, but it was fun to talk to her and hear all of the details of the things that I loved hearing, the behind-the-scenes thing.
So
Mary is a chef in her own right, and she did a beautiful job. Okay, what do you have here going on? More cheese.
These are the things that go on this pizza.
This is my favorite world. Bread dough, cheese.
Okay.
Yum.
So this is what I call the Spaniard pizza. It's a little bit of a gourmet pizza. It takes people a little bit out of their comfort zones, but really, if you think about it, it's no different than a Hawaiian.
Okay.
So it's going to have some, instead of pineapple, we're going to use quince paste.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. That doesn't look lovely.
And instead of Canadian bacon, we're going to use prosciutto. So we're just dressing up a regular pizza. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to get those crusts on a tray.
My dear friend Marshall called this something else today. She didn't know what quince paste was, but she said it was kind of like jelly.
Yeah, it's made. It's like almost like an apple jelly. So quince grows really, really well here. I hope to have quince trees at some point.
All right.
And it's it's like an ugly furry apple.
Oh.
And if you got that, say it was. Thank you. Oh, just hide it back there somewhere. Quince is if you think you have an apple tree in your yard and you go to bite into one and you almost break a tooth, you potentially have a quince tree. Quince is almost inedible in its regular form. People might argue with me, and you're totally welcome to. But we make a lot of preserves out of quince. It takes a lot of sugar also.
So you wouldn't eat it plain?
You wouldn't necessarily eat it plain, but they grow really well here. So I'm going to take a smear of goat cheese that I've kind of softened up a little bit with a little bit of olive oil.
All right.
Now,
that's just goat cheese.
This is fresh goat cheese, like Chev.
All right.
And when I say Chev, that's the Chevre. Nobody knows how to pronounce it quite right.
I thought it was Chevre. Okay.
When
just
in Rome.
Say Chev. So it will sound so much better than going up to the counter from now and say Chevre. Okay.
Like chevron, but shorter. So I'm just going to put that on the dough. And then we're going to take these toppings and put them on, as well as some Parmesan and Manchego cheese.
All right.
So I think I'm going to start with. This isn't excessive. I could probably have cut a smaller piece for this, but let's just go ahead and do this.
Okay, so how did you pick the combinations of cheeses?
It's a great question. So typically, the Manchego cheese is a Spanish cheese. I call this pizza the Spaniard. The perfect thing to put on a cheese plate with Manchego is quince paste. Like that is considered in Spain like the perfect tapas, the perfect pairing. It just also so happens to mimic kind of a Hawaiian pizza.
Okay.
So
got it.
I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple of pieces, break these up a little bit.
All right.
Yep. And then...
Ladies, you want to be sure to fill out your prize cards if you haven't filled out your prize cards, because we're going to be drawing for prizes pretty soon. And you're going to win some fabulous cooking prizes tonight. One or two of those prizes may be a cooking class at Jessica's very own school at Middle Ground Farms. So you want to be sure to fill out those prize tickets. Okay, so Jessica, what else you have there? Okay,
we're putting a little bit of prosciutto on there.
All right.
And we finished it with a little bit of cheese. We would put these in the oven at this point. They would come out much like you saw them on your platters.
Oh, okay, so those are kind of puffy, huh?
They got a little bit of puff to them.
I like those. Those are cute.
And then you finish them with a little bit of arugula, or in this case, I just grabbed some little baby greens, which are much like arugula.
Okay.
And I'm going to, just because I happen to have it here, found it in the kitchen, a little bit of balsamic syrup.
Oh, that looks really pretty.
Because it makes it look really nice on the platter. Balsamic syrup is just a balsamic reduction.
Do they have the pizzas out there? Do you have the pizzas out there yet? How do you like those, ladies? Are those a lot of good fun? I love that. They look yummy.
I don't know what on earth we're going to do with all of this food. We're getting quite full here.
Okay, this looks fun.
So I'm going to move some of these things away, and we're going to move on to our next appetizer.
Okay. Jessica, while you're setting up, I think it's time for me to give a prize away.
I think that's a great idea.
So if I could have the prize tickets up here, I would love to draw a prize.
Okay,
ladies, how fun to be drawing a prize. Jessica, you keep going, and I am going to give a prize away to some lucky woman out in the audience. Thanks, him. Okay, ladies, I hope that you all have your prize tickets in here, because this is going to be fun. I think the first one we'll give away will be something, not a cooking class quite yet. Okay. Oh, it's Julie. I didn't even look. I thought you were my daughter. Hi. Oh, dear. Okay. Would you be my daughter and read?
Emily Maletta.
Oh, Emily! Okay. Okay, I love this basket. This is a fun one. Em, this is a tea party for you. It's a teapot and wafers and just a, what did we call this one, Julie? We named this one something fun. Remember, you came up with a really cute name.
Tea. It's tea.
Okay, tea party.
It's a tea basket, but is Emily here? Because she wrote the sweetest thing, what she made perfect. Where is she? I can't see him. Anyway, she made perfectly her son, which is so sweet. I feel like that about our kids.
Is there a little question on there? See? Oh, okay.
Angela. Yeah.
Wait, you're supposed to read it. I said Emily, it's Angela. I just get confused. Well, I confuse easily. Because remember I got married when I was 12. You lose brain cells when you get married that young. Okay, Angela Maletta, where are you? Oh, Angie, I'm sorry. Here you go, sweetie. I love this one. This is perfect for you. Perfect. Okay, Jess, where are we? What are we making now?
You didn't miss much. I just chopped up a little bit of fresh garlic.
Okay.
We're gonna get ready to marinate some shrimp. So your next appetizer will be a prosciutto wrapped shrimp served with a little bit of basil aioli. Does that sound good?
I love it.
Now, this is our fanciest. I think this is a fancy kind of classy appetizer. We're gonna skewer it on a nice little skewer.
Cute.
We're gonna take a little bit of chopped garlic.
Love it.
We're gonna add some lemon zest to this. Zest is the outside of the lemon peel, the yellowest part. We're just gonna take a zester and shave that right off. The reason that we don't want to go into the pith at all, the white part underneath, is because it's rather bitter. So we're just going to put a little bit of zest, juice.
Okay, you do it upside down? I thought you had to do it the other way.
Oh, yeah, it's like a little counterintuitive.
Okay.
So in the juicer, when you get the juicer, you actually put it not like you would think.
Yes, that makes more, well, okay.
You
Are you sure you're right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm totally confident. That's
Okay.
a very good question.
I guess that you did go to La Cordon Bleu school.
I've been to the Le Cordon Bleu.
Okay.
I
speak French.
In addition to that,
French fries. Okay, ready to go.
In addition to that,
Okay.
I developed the culinary program for Sur La Table. So they taught cooking classes started right as I got out of culinary school back in 2002. And I developed their date night program as well as a bunch of other classes.
I love that.
So I know gadgets because I got
love
to use
that.
just about every gadget there is.
Okay, well, I love date night school because my husband and I teach a young married Sunday school class here, and we encourage date night. So I love that.
Oh,
but not only do you do date nights, teach about date nights. You recently were mentioned, I understand, in something very big, a very big deal by a very special friend of mine. Tell me about that.
So we got a fantastic write-up this weekend in the Oregonian and on OregonLive.com by Jerry Frank, which I imagine is a friend of yours. He's a large benefactor of area hospitals. He's a philanthropist as well as been a food writer for Oregon newspapers for quite some time. And he picked us as the place to go in Oregon, which is fantastic, our on-farm cooking school. So I was a little excited. It's kind of a big deal.
The last name Frank has something to do with Meyer and Frank, so that is how we're friends, is that I shop at Meyer and Frank sometimes, is what I meant.
Right.
So I don't actually really know him,
You don't spend a lot
but
of
I
time
feel
with him.
like we're like this. I'm just saying that, to be clear.
It was one of your first credit cards?
I don't remember that. Do I have to admit that? Because my husband is actually here serving, so...
I'll go ahead and leave this not...
I don't know what my first credit card was, because if I say that out loud, it's being recorded, and... I don't have any credit cards.
Right, especially not near Christmas. So we're just going to go ahead and take some fresh chopped rosemary in with that lemon juice. And at this point, I'm going to put a splash of wine. If you didn't want to use wine, again, just use water. Our basic thing is to dilute this lemon juice a little bit so that it doesn't turn this into ceviche or some sort of cooked shrimp. So we're just going to dilute that like that, and then we're going to throw in some beautiful prawns. So those prawns are going to go in there. And you can pour this marinade over it if you'd like. After you've wrapped it in the prosciutto, or just swim it around for a second, get all that flavorful stuff on there. Then I'm going to take a strip of that same prosciutto. Since you already bought it for your pizza, we might as well use that here.
I love that.
And again, Some people would look at this and be like, oh, the slices are all messed up. How am I going to? It doesn't matter. It's going to be a nice salty addition, a little bit of ham. We can fold it around this shrimp really beautifully and never know that it looked really bad in the beginning. So this is another focus on, it doesn't have to be perfect. This will mold to the shrimp. We've got a beautiful big fat marinated prawn that's got a nice lemon flavor as well as rosemary flavor. We'll just throw these in the oven. It could go under a broiler if we'd like. We could bake them in the oven, or we could saute them in a pan and put a lid on them and just cook them till they're cooked through. So it takes only about 3 minutes.
Okay, I see that you left the tail on. I
Yes.
kind of think it looks prettier, but it's hard and messy to eat. Could you take the tail off?
You could, but it's prettier.
Okay,
So
but it's not pretty when it's hanging out of your mouth when you're at a party, or you're walking around with the tail not knowing what to do with it. Hi, Mr. Frank, nice to meet you. Oh, I've got this shrimp tail in my hand. I'm just saying.
So why don't we just go ahead and put it on a skewer,
Okay.
so that before you put it in the oven, you've got something to hold on to, and you can take that as a bite. But frankly, yes, you could. The
Okay.
problem with that, when you start taking off the tail, is it leaves structure for the shrimp, so the shrimp tends to curl up. Have you seen that when you're cooking
Yeah.
shrimp? So if leaving the tail intact kind of allows it to keep its curve. Yes, you totally could.
right.
Depends on your audience. I like the look of the tail, and the tail just ends up going in a napkin, and somebody takes it away.
Mary Johnson and the Savory Platter and her lovely staff tonight took the tail off for us because I asked them to.
Yes.
So all of our beautiful women didn't have to have their hands messy. And now I'm in trouble, I have a feeling. So,
Well, the nice thing about it, it's dark. I can't see it.
Okay, that's
so
good.
It's freaking no.
Okay.
And plus, really, from a presentation standpoint, it looks really great with the tail. Anybody mad that it didn't have a tail? See, we have a happy audience
do
regardless.
you have those yet? Do you have the shrimp yet? Not yet. No, so they don't know. Okay, yours are coming out tail free. Surprise.
Lucky you. Okay, I'm going to do one thing.
And it's supposed to be that way. Jessica just forgot.
So we would just go ahead and wrap quite a few of those and get them onto a platter to put them in the oven to bake.
Okay.
So that's really as simple as that. Once they've
love that.
baked, they'll come out. I chose to make a little basil aioli. That's just fresh basil. Well, depends how you'd like to make it. I would like to give you permission, although the recipe that you'll see online does include a basil aioli from scratch, meaning we start with an egg yolk and we move on, add oil and some garlic and then some fresh basil. If you didn't want to do that, you're welcome to start with mayonnaise. It's not the end of the world to just season mayonnaise with a bunch of fresh basil or maybe even pesto. If you've got prepared pesto or you make pesto at home, adding that to some mayonnaise with a squeeze of lemon really makes a nice quick sauce.
Okay, so what could we do to make our eggs safe if it freaks us out, for those of us that are germaphobes? What could we do to make our eggs safe? That if we don't have a farm with a chicken that's named Ruth, that we get our eggs from, what could we do? Can you coddle an egg or something like that? What does that mean?
It's before coddling.
Besides holding it.
So you would take the eggs, cold
Okay.
water, put it in a pan, and you'd bring that up to 140 degrees. This would be a time that you would actually need to have a thermometer so that you could make sure you didn't take it beyond that, because if it turns to boiling, then you're going to end up with a hard-boiled egg. So you just want to take it to 140 degrees and allow it to stay there for 30 seconds, and then you've got what will look like raw eggs still,
All right.
but they will be pasteurized, if you will.
All right, and so that's safe. So then we could take that yolk out and we could then say that we made a fresh aioli with our own eggs from our own chicken named Ruth and feel good about it. Okay?
Yes. We actually
like
named
Ruth.
a lot of our chickens after American presidents, because
Oh.
we got a bunch of Americana chickens
Oh, cute.
because they have green eggs. So
Yes.
I do have Betty
I like
and
that.
Jackie and
Okay,
all sorts of
president's
other
wives.
President's wives.
Because we have not had a female president yet, so
President's wives. Thanks for the
I-
clarification.
I just knew that.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that, and soon you will get to enjoy that fantastic.
I'm excited. Okay, so Kit, while you're getting ready for the next one, I want to draw another prize. So could my daughter Emily or Julie or whoever it is coming up come up and let's draw something fun. Okay. Oh, I love this one. This is a really cute one. Okay. But I don't know if I can hold it. Here we go. All right. Oh, it's Julie this time. My other daughter, Julie. All right, you'll have to draw it out because there's no way I can do it. Ready? Don't look. Don't. Are you cheating? No cheating. We can't cheat. We're at church. We can cheat, but we're not at church. We can't cheat at church.
Trying to dig deep.
Okay, dig deep.
I know, without all
You know how I do it? I always fold them like a fan. Okay, ready? Okay, who is it? Emily. No, that's what I said last time. Sorry.
Sarah Brown.
Oh, Sarah, yay!
Made spaghetti sauce. Perfect.
Oh, Sarah, you made perfect I almost said spaghetti sauce. Did I really do that? Sarah Brown, where are you? Come on up. Oh, Sarah, you can take this when you go to Cucamonga or wherever it is that you go. Sarah is a missionary, one of the missionaries that we support here at Lake. Okay, where are you going, Sarah? Which way? This way? Sarah is a missionary, and they are Bible translators, and I'm excited that you won this, Sarah. Here.
We're going back on the 27th.
Oh, I know that, so I'm going to be sad that you're going, but here, this is beautiful, but it's really precarious. There you go. There you go, Sarah. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. So as you are probably about to eat your shrimp or have shrimp, I'm just going to show you two quick desserts that are going to look lovely in small little presentations that you'll get to enjoy as you guys go through the message, I believe. Okay. So we're going to make a salted caramel chocolate mousse. This is just a step up from a regular chocolate mousse, but I want people to realize how easy it is.
All right.
So we're going to start with the caramel, and I did this in advance just to make sure that I didn't burn sugar on stage. That's always a smart thing to do. So you'll notice that the color is what I'm having you look at, and that's kind of an amber color. It looks much like the apple juice we have here. You just want to see that color in there. It's just a little bit orange. We want to start, once it gets to that point, we would add some cream and butter, two fantastic things. The cream and the butter, and then we would fold in chocolate to melt that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So our goal is to add that, and then once
so you're mixing the chocolate with the salted caramel.
With the caramel.
With the caramel that's not salted yet.
Yep, we've just got caramel, a little bit of cream.
All right.
And we're going to add our chocolate. We'll melt that together, and then we end up with this.
All right.
That is a beautiful, thick ganache.
Oh, wow.
So see how that comes out? We just want to make sure that it gets to room temperature. And then the traditional part of a mousse comes into play, where we would actually take our egg whites and whip them until they're stiff.
All right.
We'd take that, put it into the KitchenAid like that.
All right.
Go ahead and whip it until it's got a lot of air and has stiff peaks, and just fold those together. It's very, very simple. The key to this is actually finishing it. Once we get it into whatever vehicle we'd like, you'll notice that
my car to go would be a fun vehicle, I'm just saying. All right.
And when I say vehicle, any way you'd like to present it. Tonight you're going to have it in little votives, which are absolutely precious, and one of my favorite ways to serve that. Serve it with or without whipped cream. Tonight we're going to have some nice whipped cream. I put some whipped cream on these, but as you can see, though, it's warm on the stage, and so it's kind of fallen a little bit, but I would finish it like that, and then finish with just a pinch of sea salt. So the sea salt is going to bring out the sweetness. Chocolate and sea salt pairings are very popular right now, so it's got that salted caramel flavor. Put a little bit of the sea salt on there, and then this looks like tiny little hot cocos.
I love
which
that.
I think is precious.
All right. I was talking to the caterers back there. I was talking to Tricia, one of Mary's helpers from the catering, and she said that she was the key with that whipping it was being careful to fold it together. Is
Absolutely.
That, okay. So when I saw you doing that earlier, you were kind of showing us how to gently fold that over.
Yes, and you'd want to use a big enough bowl.
What stage was that when you did the egg whites, you're saying?
Yep, we'd get the egg whites whipped, and then we would fold this chocolate ganache into it.
Okay.
So you can see that this is on the heavier side.
All right.
If it was hot at the time that we did it, it would squash all of that nice air that we got into our egg whites. So we would definitely wait until it's room temperature like this one is.
And what kind of chocolate did you use here tonight for this one?
Well, will you please taste it? See, at least I'm asking you to taste chocolate instead of endive this time.
Yes, you did.
I use a dark chocolate. A 68% cacao is what it's called, and that just means the degree of chocolate versus other things in the chocolate. So it's a pretty dark chocolate.
All right.
I hear chatting out there, which means they must be being fed, right?
All right.
What are we?
They
what
have
are you
dessert.
eating?
It looks like dessert is going out.
Fantastic.
Yum. Okay.
So that's all we need for that dessert.
All right.
And then another thought, because you probably have some leftover cookie dough, I just made some little straws,
if
you will.
I love that.
You can put those in any of them. And this is just the cookie dough from all of those cookies that we rolled.
Love that.
Yeah, so makes for a nice little garnish.
Oh, it looks really cute. I love that.
And then the last thing that we're going to do is probably one of the simplest desserts that you can put together, and because I'll give you a couple of cheating techniques.
I love that every one of these things has not been perfect, but you've made it perfectly. So there's so many versions of made perfectly or imperfectly, and I love that.
And
I mean, each one has its own personality and its own flair, and I think I love that example of that. I think, okay, now this is adorable with this fun little mason jar. You could use any, I love your word, vehicle that you want to serve it however you want, and you could cover all kinds of what we would think is mistakes up with something else that you've used. Jessica, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And you'll see a lot of different variation because that's just how it turns out, and your guests don't know the difference. So our last thing is just going to be a toasted pound cake, and this is a delightful thing to have. Again, you could keep pound cake in your freezer. You could buy your pound cake at Costco, just saying, just a thought, if you didn't want to make it yourself. But I chose to. I also sometimes will choose to pour that pancake. Okay, talk about perfectly or not. Let's see. Oh, it came out good.
Okay,
If it tore, I was going to use that as an example about how it's not always perfect.
Did you do it ahead of time to make it perfect this time? Or did this really just come out?
No, that just really came out. I tore the paper a little bit.
I love that when happens.
Parchment helps.
Okay, wait, you made this pound cake from scratch?
Yes.
Okay, so if my pound cake doesn't turn out perfectly, could I buy Sara Lee or Costco?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to admit this, but Costco doesn't currently have them. That's why maybe I have.
Okay, this weighs like a pound or two.
It weighs 4 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
So pound cake is historically a pound of sugar, a pound of butter, and a pound of eggs.
Oh, that's where it gets its name.
Yeah.
And you gain 7 pounds when you eat a slice.
No, when you sit down and eat the whole thing.
Okay.
So we're going to just go ahead and...
I could sit down and eat the whole thing. It looks so yummy. Okay.
You can make it into slices.
Oh, it's very
see, that was
good.
another good thing. You always hope that it actually turns out when you cut it. What you guys have is a slice taken like that, and then just cut into little cubes so that it's bite-sized.
I love it.
Then you just toast this under a broiler really quick, put a nice little smidge of lemon curd on it. I also chose to make some in mini muffin tins, just so you can see what that would look like as another option. And that's just your basic mini muffin tin that you can make, and you just put a little dollop, even scoops, so that they turn out about the same size, and those present really well.
Okay. Now, I would put the pound cake in with the mousse, with the lemon curd, and have a made perfectly for Lori dessert. But that might sound
on a platter, maybe this size.
With the blue cheese mousse and a little bit of brie, and I would be a happy girl.
And so we'll just take some lemon curd, and this is lemon curd that I made with these ingredients. Some fresh lemon juice, egg yolks, sugar, and whole eggs. We'll just put a dollop on each one.
All right.
And I will say, these taste better if they sit there for a little while because that lemon curd actually starts to go into the cake.
I love it.
But again, you could buy purchased lemon curd because that's available especially during the holidays.
Okay.
Or make your own because I like it to be rather tart.
All right.
Finish it with a little bit of whipped cream, which I'm sure yours look beautiful out there.
All right.
And then maybe some fresh raspberries.
I love it.
Yes,
okay,
we'll go ahead and grab
Jessica,
that.
we're going to let them eat those. Ladies, do you all have all of your dessert out there? Okay, was this not a blast tonight, getting to see all of these desserts and these foods made with Jessica? Jessica, thank you. Thank you. My goodness. How many appetizers did we make? We made 5 appetizers and 2 desserts, or 4, or whatever. I don't know how many we had.
4
a lot of
appetizers
things in 30 minutes. We could have called this 30 minutes or less. Jessica, thank you. Thank you for Jessica Hansen from Middle Ground Farms. Jessica,
amazing.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jessica.
And again, go to joyofit.org for any of these recipes, or middlegroundfarms.com.
middlegroundfarms.com. We'll have a blog post tonight with our take on the event and all of the recipes.
Yeah. So
Jessica, I just want to tell you that we have had an absolute blast getting to know you and having you be a part of this. It has been a joy to have you, and we love you, and we thank you. And every time I'm in front of you, I learn an enormous amount. And so our hope today, ladies, is that not only did you learn these recipes and these tricks and tools that will help you to make these foods, but that these tricks and tools will transcend past the holidays and into the new year, and that you will remember tonight as a time that you learned how to make things not just perfectly, but perfect for yourself. So thank you, Jessica, and thank you
very much.
so much.
Thank you. Leave that mess.
And we also want to thank the hands that prepared the food tonight. Savory Platter, Mary Johnson, prepared for the last 3 days an enormous amount of food. And I just hope that you were blessed, not only in your hearts, but in your tummies today by this food. So we want to definitely put our hands together for Mary Johnson as well.